Is everyone ready for the vocalification of CDR Project Red? Wave the Witcher goodbye? Kiss Cyberpunk for the last time. Welcome California, welcome Canada, Montreal, and all the woke glorious rainbow flags that you have ever seen in your life. It's gonna be sad and depraved and disgusting.
Over the past couple of weeks, we've been getting a ton of updates around CDPR and even more in the future of Cyberpunk. Because yes, things are happening. There's several new Cyberpunk shows in production right now, and I have some updates on those. But also the modding scene has...
I am so afraid. I'm so afraid. The Cyberpunk anime was amazing. It was one of the best things of the year, anime-wise. And now, I don't think we're gonna make it, boys. I think this is it. I don't think it's gonna be good because it's gonna be by Netflix. Did you see the anime version of the Lord of the Rings that they're gonna do? Pure unadulterated. Women that don't need no man, knows everything is perfect from the beginning. Over. It's not looking good, boys. Not looking good.
Some very interesting things going on, and overall, I just gotta admit that I'm starting to get incredibly excited for the future of Cyberpunk 2077 and really just the franchise. Although unfortunately, it's not all good news, as we also have seen a flood of problems getting reported after Cyberpunk 2077's supposed final update, to the point where some fans are calling for at least one more update to fix some of these lingering issues. But do you like food? I love food so much that I was constantly eating out and spending way too much of orders. A couple of weeks ago, CDPR dropped patch 2.13 for Cyberpunk 2077. This predominantly adding in FSR 3.0 support, which brought a massive performance boost for most players. But even in the onset, there were some frustrations with this update. As I noted in my own video on the update, which was age restricted, thanks YouTube. But as we saw in that video, FSR 3.0 does have some visual quality issues. Even though, yeah, your FPS is much higher, there's lots of artifacting in game. And just generally, this doesn't look nearly as good as the recently released FSR 3.1. So right away, lots of fans were perplexed as to why we didn't get the updated version of FSR after...
Wow, numbers. FSR, dude. My computer with my GX 490 70p 80 can run the FSR 3.0 in digital only mode without any problems. My motherboard processing core chip is double stacked. FSR 5 is not gonna be a problem, boys. God, I hate computers.
Years of waiting for this in the first place. But even further, problems started to arise in the wake of patch 2.13. Tons of players noticed massive FPS drops, losing 20 to 30.
Oh no, you can already see the rainbow flag! It's so over!
FPS instantly from this update, and this was backed up not only by user reports, but also some evidence in the form of in-game benchmarks being posted. And actually could recreate this myself, using the exact same settings, the only difference being patch 2.12 versus patch 2.13, I went from a 99 FPS on average to a mere 70 FPS average. So of course, that's a pretty dramatic drop, but thankfully I figured out what exactly was going on here. It was more or less just frame generation. Patch 2.13 added in FSR 3.0 frame generation, and as such, the menu option actually changed. It went from being a toggle switch to just toggle DLSS frame generation on or off, to now a new menu option with three distinct choices to either have off, DLSS, or FSR frame generation. And it seems like something with this transition from a toggle switch to an actual menu item got broken with the update. So even though frame generation appears as if I have it turned on, it's actually not, and you need to toggle this on and off again, and then frame generation will actually be on, and your FPS will return to its expected value, or at least it did for me.
Still extremely convoluted and no one cares. Okay, FPS issues aside, let's move on, because no one cares about the FPS. As long as it's high, no one cares.
Several save issues have been reported, and this is obviously quite concerning. After loading a save, some users had parts of their world just no longer loading properly or disappear after a certain amount of playtime, others having whiteout issues affecting saves and gameplay, and just overall, there was a mountain of crash reports that popped up after patch 2.13. So typically while I'm making the patch videos, I don't talk too much about crash reports because a lot of these tend to just be people having outdated automated mods. They had a modded playthrough and they try and launch the game after the update, and of course it crashes because, yeah, your mods are out of date. But this time around, even several weeks later, as people reportedly have updated their mods or even are playing with no mods, you can still find a ton of reports of people crashing more often after this update has released. And yeah, I don't have an explanation on that. It seems like there might be a genuine increase in crashes. And those are just some of the patch 2.13 specific bugs. Beyond that, we have things like after doing the Killing Moon mission in Phantom Liberty, V's mouth will no longer move. So of course, this is just applying to the ending cutscenes as well as mirrors because you can't really see your mouth all that often in Cyberpunk, but it is a bit goofy to just be at the ending of the game having some dramatic moments and you can't move your mouth. It seems like as of right now,
that is such an issue though, and that's gonna probably take the hell out of you.
Now this will just be stuck in the game forever. The Killing Moon is a fairly essential quest, so it's not like you want to just skip that, and this bug certainly does change the dynamic of some of these ending cutscenes. On consoles right now, the Trauma Drama game just doesn't work. It'll stop spawning enemies, which is a bigger issue because this permanently locks you out of getting the unique outfit that you can unlock via this game, and that is a pretty big bummer. And one that could be a bug or kind of a feature depending on how you look at it, Phantom Liberty added this random encounter with Trauma Team in Pacifica. It's right where the Ozab fight is, where you'll basically find a lone Trauma Team member who is fending off against some voodoo boys that seem to want to raid their ship. If you help the Trauma Team member and take out the voodoo boys with a melee weapon specifically, the Trauma Team member at the end will thank you and even transfer some eddies to you, but it'll also make it so the cops in Night City won't fight you again. You won't be wanted, even if you take down a bunch of civilians or cops. I tested both of those, and at some points even just
Seems legit. Seems like there's not a lot of problems here. Okay, Cyberpunk multiplayer, mod support, new Cyberpunk TV show. This is it. This is the big one. Mod support is going to happen. Multiplayer is, by the way, a mod also, but the multiplayer is not happening. Okay, boys. The new Cyberpunk show. God have mercy upon our souls because we are not worth it.
And all of that, we've also heard how 2 Cyberpunk shows are now in production. Of course, just recently, we saw the reveal of a new Netflix Cyberpunk anime. And after Edgerunners, I think just about all of us are eager to find out more of exactly what this will be. We don't have many details yet beyond this short announcement teaser, but it does give pretty heavy Blackwall vibes. Perhaps this will be a show focused around advanced AIs, Netwatch, and even just the net and what it's doing. That makes a lot of sense.
That would be fine. No one cares. Just give us a good show.
To me, because it feels like that entire plotline would be quite fitting for the world we're really living in right now. It would provide a lot of great opportunities to commentate on what's happening in real.
How about we do zero commentary on real fucking life? But that seems highly unlikable, considering people think that, dude, the left is just absolutely insane. They're constantly saying, "Oh, look at this! Cyberpunk is a criticism of capitalism and how communism is better." Oh my god! Yeah, it's gonna be hard, boys. It's gonna be an uphill battle. We're gonna see what happens, but I don't know. I don't know. Everyone knows CDPR is going super woke. And currently, we haven't seen any of these projects that are going to just cement what's going to happen because they literally won a Vogue Award. A year ago, they literally won a Vogue Award. I'm not kidding. There was an award for most progressive blah blah blah. And CDPR Red shoved the dildo right where the sun don't shine and said, oh yeah, we take this with pride. Oh boys, it's gonna be a struggle.
Real life. With Edgerunners, we get to see a street kid story, so I could totally see this new project being more of a corpo story, and the visuals from the trailer definitely give me more of that vibe. And if you loved Edgerunners, at least some of the same people are involved with this new project. The animation narrative director at CDPR, who did work on Edgerunners, tweeted out saying, "I was busy and quiet for some time lately, but I was preparing some cool new things for you with a bunch of amazing people. Hope you understand." As of right now,
the animation was top-notch for Edgerunners. No complaints there.
now, we don't know when this show is coming out, but a proper trailer at some
Also, the music is absolutely great.
point this year really wouldn't shock me. The Game Awards in December seems like a real possibility for a trailer, as CDPR was there in past years with a Phantom Liberty teaser, and in the recent earnings call, they even reiterated how they like to use a mix of events and their own random streams and messages to share game news. So it seems plausible that a new trailer could pop up at one one of these upcoming events, and the next major one is the Game Awards. But what I think a lot of people just kind of forgot about was the fact that there's also a live-action Cyberpunk project on the way. This was announced almost a year ago now, and it's being done in collaboration with anonymous content. They've worked on things like True Detective Season 1, Spot.
Okay, let's look at this lineup.
Content. They've worked on things.
No idea. Time Bandit. Oh god, Time Bandits was super retardedly woke. Foe, no idea. Boy Swallows Universe sounds cringe, and that's an international kid. Saint X Unprisoned? A lot of nothing. Don't know, but this, oh jeez, I don't even want to look at it. The Stranger, a random acts of flyness, Swan Song. I mean, is anyone noticing that this all seems extremely sus?
Things like True Detective.
Now, I don't want to be the one pointing shit out, but I mean, it's kind of on the nose.
Season 1, Spotlight, The Nick, and even The Rev.
Okay, the Murder Before the Marathon sounds stupid. Shantarm? No idea. The Last Days of Ployment Gray, The Independent, Birds of Paradise, Stillwater. I've heard about Stillwater, but again, mixed racial kid right there, 10 out of 10. Overt Defending Jacob Dixon.
Revenant. As of right now, it's not entirely clear if this is going to be a movie or TV series. I'm personally hoping for a new prestige Cyberpunk TV
Oh boy, man, I'm also hoping for a lot. Painless Death, for example.
show. But one of the few things we did hear is how things wouldn't be said until 2025 when it came to this project. And if you would look at that, it is almost 2025. I suspect next year we will start to hear more about what is going on here, whether that be via leaks.
Almost 2025. Another year of life not worth living, boys. We did it!
Via filming, because of course now that it's live action, yeah, there'll be leaks from the filming and sets, or more likely some more announcements from CDPR themselves. They brought up this project during their last earnings call, saying, as for the live action project, we don't have any new updates, but we're happy with how things are progressing on that front. When the time is right, we'll be sharing more, that's for sure. So even though we're in this odd lull as far as gaming content from CDPR goes right now, as you can see, over the next few years, we should still be getting a healthy amount of cyberpunk media, just in the form of potential movies and new series coming out. I have a suspicion that mod support could make a ton of sense financially, thanks to some of the player boosts that'll inevitably come from these other releases tying back in with a bunch of new mods coming. And while yeah, we will be waiting a few years for the next new games from CDPR, once the games start coming, they're not really gonna stop. CDPR has a pretty insane 10-year lineup on the horizon. Right now, the big project is Polaris.
Oh man, again, this is gonna be so wild because we have not seen a single project after the fall of CDPR. Oh, it's gonna be it's gonna be. I'm so devastated.
The start of the next Witcher trilogy, but CDPR has made it clear that once
The new Witcher trilogy without Geralt, but I don't even know what.
Polaris drops, within 6 years of that release, they want 2 more AAA Witcher games coming out. Polaris will basically be the big game that builds the tools, but then they will use that same tech for the next 2 games. And we actually just heard some updates on this. CDPR recently switched to Unreal Engine and even signed an agreement with Epic to help develop
Yeah, we don't care. Orion, let's
project.
go.
And when it comes to Orion, CDPR is of course doing something really cool where they're building out an entire second studio in North America that's going to be dedicated to making Cyberpunk. Right now, it's only around 60 devs.
Oh, Cyberpunk has no shot.
But during the most recent earnings call, we heard how we expect future growth even next year. As presented on one of our slides, the Orion team now numbers 60 people, and we believe that over the course of the next year, it should double. And we may have just gotten our first clues as to
I want to see the pictures. It's probably going to be Ubisoft Tears of Madness.
what we can expect from Cyberpunk Orion. One Reddit user noticed how Pal Sasko, associate game director for Cyberpunk Orion, has mentioned or highlighted Rita Wheeler twice when
Chooms, we are looking for passionate blah 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 blah. If you are in the join me in the studio in Boston, build a blah. Okay.
talking about Orion. Rita Wheeler is of course the door guard for the Mox in Cyberpunk.
Need her romanceable in Cyberpunk too. Oh god, he literally replied to a shipper. Oh no. He literally replied to a Coomer. Shit! That's so bad.
2077, and she does appear in Orion. That would be pretty interesting. It of course would suggest
And the irony of my thumbnails and me saying Coomering is bad is not lost on me, but it's the price. It's the price we all pay.
we're staying in Night City, and it's going to be a relatively similar time frame to Cyberpunk 2077. If Rita's still around, she can't be that much older or younger, but honestly, that's all fine for me. It feels like Night City still has plenty of stories to tell. So things are starting to ramp up with Orion, but we very realistically could see a new Witcher
Yeah, you can literally tell any story that you want in the Cyberpunk universe.
project in 2027, and then just a couple of years later, such as 2029, a new Cyberpunk game, and then perhaps even just a year after that, another new Witcher project. Like I mentioned before, they want
Oh god, it's so over. Anyway, that was Juice said. Oh man, I just, it is what it is. Bye.